Alright, we're going to do the next chapter of Say in the Service of Mrs.
Voiceover on
Claus.
Chapter 10, The Last Christmas Image. There's Chapter 10, The Last Christmas Image.
And this might be the last chapter. I
The
don't know.
Last Christmas.
But this one's called The Last Christmas. Let's get into it.
There's more than one kind of tension in the air tonight. You, Candid and Mrs. Claus are having a hushed conversation together in her parlor when the messenger elf brings Claus word of a visitor. You are shocked to see Glass Ghost enter in chains, flanked by guards, their glass mask cracked and their gray suit streaked with grime. You cross your arms and frown at Ghost, but they turn away. One of the guards hands Claus a handwritten note. The prisoner has a message for you, the guard says to Claus. They say it's for your eyes only. Page 2. You are shocked to see Glass Ghost enter in chains, flanked by guards, their glass mask cracked and their gray suit streaked with grime. You cross your arms and frown at Ghost, but they turn away. One of Glass Ghost turns and looks straight at you. Did the guard say Glass Ghost was a prisoner? When did that happen? Next, but Claus goes pale while reading the note, and stares at Ghost. Show stats, show back, achievement, achieve back. You haven't unlocked any achievements yet. Dark secrets. Learn the truth about Santa's death. 25 points. A mini-me. Witness the birth of a smaller piece of you. 25 points. 9 to 5. Find a job in the mortal world. 25 point. 10,000 followers. Become the head of a cult. 25 friends in high places. Have your heart's wish granted by an extra-dimensional being. 25 points. Have your heart's wish granted by an extra-dimensional being. Page 3 of 3. There can be only one. Be the last person standing at the shocking. Meet Shang Zappa. 25 point. Ho ho ho. Deliver presents in Santa's sleigh. Three-headed friend. Befriend Cerberus. Waiting bells. Celebrate your wedding day. Elf triumphant. Win award decisively. 50 points. Turncoat. Betray Mrs. Claus and the rest of the elves. 50. It's alive. Bring someone back from the dead. 50. Page 3 of 3. Shocking. Meet Shang Zappa. 20. Betray Mrs. Claus and it's alive. Bring someone back from save Christmas for future generations. Christmas eternal. Back button. Back button. Claus goes pale while reading the note, and stares at Ghost, then at you. Candid, if I could ask you to excuse us for a moment, she murmurs. Candid nods, giving you a glance, and flits out of the room. Claus speaks directly to you, ignoring Ghost. I'm sure you're aware we've been looking for Ghost. They were captured during the battle. I don't think Ghost came with Flame. I think that, as usual, they were being opportunistic and looking for a way to profit off the confusion. We've been unable to find any means of intel on Flame himself, she says, glaring at Glass Ghost. Speech on. Speech on. Claus speaks directly to you, ignoring Ghost. I'm sure you're aware we've been looking. Claus speaks directly to you, ignoring Ghost. I'm sure you're aware we've been looking for Ghost. They were captured during the battle. I don't think Ghost came with Flame. I think that, as usual, they were being opportunistic and looking for a way to profit off the confusion. But this is something much more valuable. Ghost claims to have access to the location of my late husband's heart. Next button. Claus continues. I don't need to tell you how important this is. I am going to verify this information. In the meantime, she says, I'll leave it to you to deal with Glass Ghost. Claus strides quickly out of the room, and you are left alone with Glass Ghost and their guards. Ghost is silent. You two weren't exactly on the best of terms the last time you met. What do you say to them? Glass Ghost, we were page 2 of 2. Glass Ghost, we were allies before. Enough of being a rogue agent. Join us. Hopefully, Ghost is interested enough. I release you, in return for your gratitude. The others may refuse to go along unless I can pull my weight. Glass Ghost, for your crimes against all of the Fey world, I sentence you to imprisonment. It's the simplest choice. Glass Ghost, we were allies before. Enough of being a rogue agent. Join us. Hopefully, Ghost is interested enough. I release you, in return for your gratitude. The others may Glass Ghost, for your crimes against all of the Fey world, I sentence you to imprisonment. It's the simplest choice. Glass Ghost, next. Glass Ghost remains silent. Their arms and legs are clasped in bloodsteel, and they are frog-marked to the tower. There's nothing else you could have done, realistically. With Hercules and Ghost both in the tower, your prison is beginning to be quite star-studded. What a strange saga. To be head of security of one of the most powerful forces in the world, and then to end up like this. They couldn't even be a successful traitor, like Flame. You wait for what feels like an hour or more before Claus returns with a glowing smile on her face. Come, Rosewood Unicorn. The heart is in a dark spot, stuck between two worlds, a grim fortress of unknown origins. I can't trust anyone else with this information. I want you to come with me personally. She lays her hand on your arm. You can feel your heart beating faster, but she doesn't notice. Page 2 of You wait for what feels like an hour or more before. Are you sure you can believe Glass Ghost? Are you sure you can believe Glass Ghost? How do you know this is the right place to go? Are you sure we should be doing this? Flame might be planning a counterattack. Page 3 of Are you sure we should be doing this? Flame might be planning a counterattack. Do you think we should bring more people? How do you know this is the right place to go? Are you sure you can believe Glass Ghost? Radio button. Check. How do you know this is the right place to go? Radio button checked. To if Are you sure we should be doing this? Are you sure we should be doing this? Flame might be planning a counterattack. Radio button checked. Do you think we should bring more people? Radio button checked. 4 of 4. Are you sure we should be doing this? How do you know this is the right place to go? Are you sure you can believe Glass Ghost? How do you know this is the next? Claus runs her fingers through her hair thoughtfully. It makes you wish you could do it for her. It took me some time just to know if I could trust Glass Ghost, she says. But I'd rather not reveal my methods. Once I knew they were reliable, the directions were easy. Ghost placed a tracker, a scented trail that is almost indistinguishable if not known of ahead of time. The reindeer can smell it, now that I've given them the scent. But come, Rosewood, we need to depart, says Claus. Within minutes, you are in the war sleigh, soaring through the night, headed towards the rumored fortress. Page 2. But come, Rose, as you fly towards its location at a breakneck pace, you see the stars slowly darken and wink out one at a time. Deep in the distance, you see a low shape slowly rising from the foothills, but it's too dark to see from this far. As you approach it, the feeling intensifies until you pass some sort of invisible barrier. Next button. Inside, everything is quiet. You arrive at the fortress at midnight on Christmas Eve. You and Claus dismount and observe it. I've been here before, you say. Claus treads carefully up next to you and looks over the fortress. Are you sure? I've never seen anything like this. The structure before you looks like something from a nightmare. It's a meandering building built of heavy stone bricks and weathered wooden beams. Its heavily reinforced windows are obscured by curtains. It looks so different, but you are certain you recognize it. Page 2 of the structure before you looks like not here, but in the human world. It's twisted beyond belief, but this is Katya Andreeva's house. Claus looks at you quizzically. You say, she's a bleeder. I delivered her present a year ago. But that was in the mortal world. This is some kind of shadow version of her house. She must be connected to this somehow. But I don't know how. You add, during my journey, I've done much to preserve the barrier between the worlds. Only some twisted kind of blader magic could create something like this. My attempt to preserve the balance of the world should make this easier for us. Page 4 of 5. Claus nods. According to our sources, this is where we'll find my late husband's heart. If you are familiar with this location, it might make sense for you to take charge. Unless, of course, you feel more comfortable under my guidance. Claus looks serious, but smiles at you and says, I can't think of anyone I'd rather be with tonight. There's a lot to think about with how the two of you are going to work together tonight. How are you going to handle the exploration? Page 5. I plan on letting Claus take the lead on this operation. I trust her. I was brought along for a reason. I'll be proactive on this heist, and I'll make Claus proud. Honestly, it looks dangerous. I'll let Claus take the lead. She can take the hits better than me. I'll take charge of this. I'll show Claus how it's done. I'll take charge of this. I was brought along for a reason. I'll be proactive on this heist. I'll take charge of this. Next, on the flight here, you've caught Claus looking at you more than once. Whenever your eye catches hers, she smile and look away. If anything, it seemed she was admiring your star birthmark. When you hit rough patches of wind and the two of you got jostled in the air, she held on to you long after the turbulence is over. Whether it's just the excitement and danger heightened feelings or the emergence of old emotions, it's become clear that she is deeply attached to you. Page 3 of 3. The way things go tonight could determine your entire future together. What are your plans? I'll show affection back. I want Claus to know I'm interested. I won't push her away, but I'm going to focus on the mission first. This isn't what I want. I cool things off between us. I don't know. I'd rather just see how she feels and go off of that. This isn't what I want. I cool things off between us. The way things go tonight could determine your entire future together. What are your plans? This isn't what I want. I cool things off between us. Radio button checked. 3 of 4.
Because my characters want
Next,
candid.
but you look over Claus. She seems to be show back tinkering. Page 2 of 7. Blast Ghost. 42%. Copper Crank. 30%. Gray the Dreamer. 30%. Nightmare King. 46%. Fractured Quartz. 47%. Donner. 64%. K the Magician. 43%. Flickering Flame. 22%. Candid Mistletoe. 81%. Mrs. Claus. 63%. Voiceover off. Voiceover off. You look over Claus. She seems to be in a strange mood. She's discarded her fur coat for a light, combat-ready outfit. She alternates between smiling distractedly and staring off into space. You nod to yourself. Nothing there. You say, we need to find a way in. She agrees. The main gate of the fortress looks to be solid iron tree. The windows are barred. The surrounding hills are dark and silent except for the quiet sounds of insects at night. Page 2 of the main gate of the fortress looks to be. We shift into mist and pass through an upper window. Radio. I'm not going to be intimidated. I use my lockpicking device on the door. Radio. I might be able to get one of these insects to talk. You never know what they might have seen. We shift into mist and pass through an upper window. I'm not going to be intimidated. Next, you point to a window just to the left of the main entrance. An entrance in mist form would be silent and simple, you say. Claus nods. The two of you concentrate in tandem. It's a bit of an unusual feeling, shifting simultaneously. It's not something you and Mrs. Claus have done together very often. But something is wrong. There's a tug between the two of you, pulling you together. Your mists start blending together. But something is wrong. You can feel Claus struggling against you. Page 2 of 2. But something is wrong. You can feel Claus struggling against you, trying to pull free. You tug back as well, and the two of you spiral out of control, smashing through the bars of the window as you pull apart from each other and rematerialize. Claus's head looks bruised. Next, button. The two of you look around. The entrance is filled with a maze of smashed and broken furniture, desks, chairs, thrones, armoires. Beyond the barricade, hallways stretch out in several directions, lined with cobweb-covered candles and burned-out torches. You see Claus snaps her finger. Beyond the barricade, hallways stretch out in several directions, lined with cobweb-covered candles and burned-out torches. You see no doors. Claus snaps her fingers, and a glowing ball manifests in front of her. She blows on it gently, and it dissolves into tiny luminescent snowflakes that spread out around you, lightening the area. Page 2 of 3. Claus moves to crawl through the barricade, but you reach out a hand to hold her back. The floor is trapped, you say. Now that you're paying attention, you can feel a dull ache emanating from the floor. This is a powerful emotional trap, masked by a counter charm that is equally as strong. It could have fried your feet off. Interesting. It really is just like you remember at Katya's house. The floor was trapped that night, as well. You look at Claus. We'll need to work together on this one, you say. Concentrate to counter the emotion in the floor. Page 3 of It's Christmas Eve, and we haven't eaten in hours. Let's think of feasts in the past. Let's think of our goal, the heart. Our dedication towards a single objective could carry us through. Let's think of all the pleasant times we've had in the past, milady. Let's think of something famous we've seen together. Art. The Colossus of Olympus, perhaps. Let's think of our goal, the heart. Our dedication towards It's Christmas Eve. Let's think of our goal. Let's think of our goal. Next, Claus looks thoughtful. I can't think of anything I care about more right now than getting his heart back. The two of you step forward, trying to focus on the heart with all of your might and clearing all distractions. Claus is doing the best that she can, but she has to be thinking of all the crazy things that have happened these last few days. You're finding it increasingly difficult to focus yourself. Your concentration fizzles and fails. Page 2 of Claus says, "This isn't going anywhere. I'll take care of this." She furrows her brow in concentration, then strides forward, directly into the trap. The magic hisses around her, and you can see her shivering in pain. But whatever she's thinking about, it's working. The trap evaporates. But she is injured. The two of you stand silently while she recovers. You try to think of something to say during the awkward silence. Well, this is probably the strangest Christmas Eve we've had yet, eh? What are you going to do with Santa's heart if you get it back? Page 3 of 3. What are you going to do with Santa's heart if you get it back? Do you have any regrets in life? Do you have any regrets in life? Who do you think set this place up? What are you going to do with Santa's heart? Checked. Next. But she looks thoughtful. Honestly, Rosewood, I'd thought about this a lot. I think I'll wear it. A little macabre, no? But I don't want to lose it again. I'll wear it, defend it with my life, so that if it goes, I go too, and I won't be reduced to this, she says, indicating the dark squalor around you, anymore. No more slowly dying day by day. I want to live, to be alive. The moment passes. The two of you make your way through the barricade and around the corner when you experience a bit of déjà vu. This really does remind you of Katya's house. The fortress divides into two here, with what appears to be a kitchen and galley area on the left and a ballroom on the right with a sweeping staircase. Page 2 of The moment passes. Claus looks at you questioningly. You point towards the kitchen. It makes more sense to finish the bottom floor before heading up. The galley is dimly lit, with row after row of tables stretching to the kitchen in the back. The tables and walls are decorated with bizarre images of some creature you've never seen before, a kind of two-headed rodent. In the middle of the room, a single table has a glowing crystal placed on it, a roughly spherical shape hard to see. Page 4 of Is that it? You ask her incredulously. She is staring at the heart, her eyes glowing. It could be. We'll have to get closer to be sure. But I don't. I push forward. She is staring at the heart, her eyes glowing. It could be. We'll have to get closer to be sure. But I don't trust this place. I push forward, ignoring her and heading straight for the heart. I hover behind her, watching. I don't want to be the first to check this out. Let's go together, I say, and head towards the table. What do you think we should do? I ask page 4. What do you think we should do? I ask Claus. Let's go together, I say. Let's go together. Next, Claus nods and walks shoulder to shoulder with you towards the heart. As you get closer, you begin to hear a rustling sound. You lift up a hand. Wait, do you hear that? You both pause, but the rustling continues. The paintings and markings around you shift, slowly emerging into life. 2 hated rat creatures spring up around the two of you, encircling you completely. The paintings and markings around you shift, slowly emerging into life. 2 hated rat creatures spring up around the two of you, encircling you completely. The heart itself turns dark and melts. You look up, and see a particularly large 2-headed rat falling onto you two from above. It's a trap, you mutter. Claus says, of course it would be. You dodge the falling rat, but it sticks to your foot, squishing out of shape. You take a step back and realize that the sticky mass is gluing you to the floor. They feel like magical constructs more than living things. I might be able to hide us with an illusion. We need a distraction. I use my holiday cheer to fill the tables with baked goods. I've seen this kind of magic before. If only I could remember where. Page 3 of 3. They feel like magical construct more than. We need a distraction. I've seen this kind of magic before. If only I could remember where. We need a distract. Next, but you crack your knuckles and get to work. Quickly, you sing a little ditty, gesturing with a single hand that leaves a trail of sparkling pixie dust behind it. With the other hand, you gather a handful of dried vegetables and croutons from a spare pouch. It's not like you were going to eat them, anyway. You toss the dried food over the tables and throw more pixie dust over it all with a single wave. A miraculous feast springs up, large, luscious pumpkins, gooseberry stuffed pastries, pitchers of cream, fresh mozzarella and aged cheddar, crumpets and biscuits. Page 2 of You toss the dried food over the table. A miraculous feast springs up, large, luscious The rats leap in a frenzy towards the food, giving you and Claus a chance to get away. Next, button. With a clear path ahead, you and Claus race out of the kitchen and back into the main hallway. Thanks, says Claus, panting. You did good, Rosewood Unicorn. She coughs. Well, this seems to be getting worse the further we go, says Claus. I'm sorry you had to be involved in this. But I don't have many options right now. The two of you sit for a moment, recovering. Screen dimmed. The two of you sit for a moment. Let's keep going, you say. The two of you walk side by side into the ballroom. You've grown closer over the night. It's hard to know how you feel about Claus. Page 2 of 2. Let's keep going, you say. Let's keep going, you say. The two of you. Let's keep going, you say. The two of you walk side by side into the ballroom. You've grown closer over the night. It's hard to know how you feel about Claus. Next, the room looks as if it were once majestic, with space for hundreds. The ceiling above is lost in shadow. A grand staircase descends from on high to the cobweb floor, which is littered in debris from shattered chandeliers and rusted suits of armor. The bottom seems to have fallen in, leaving a gaping black hole the size of a truck. Wait, is that a hole, or something massive and dark? You take a step forward, and the darkness moves. You hear a low growl echoing through the room. It's soon joined by another, and another. Slowly, 6 red, glowing eyes open, their crimson light revealing an enormous 3-headed beast. Page 2 of 3. You hear a low growl. Claus whispers, saying, Cerberus. I thought she was dead. This is bad, Rosewood. This is really bad. None of us could handle her in the past. Except she frowns. We'll just have to distract her. Take on as many heads as you can, but don't engage in direct combat. Claus moves cautiously forward. You only have a few moments to act. Maybe cheer can overcome gloom. Page 3 of 3. Maybe cheer can overcome gloom. There's a good deal of metal among the debris. I built a horde of spiders to distract the creature. Cerberus is legendary for being protective. I could take the shape of a 3-headed pup and try to distract it. Maybe cheer can overcome gloom. Next, you stand in the red glare of Cerberus's eyes and swallow nervously, watching the ropey saliva drip from her mouth onto the floor. This better work. Raising both fists high in the air, you open your heart to thoughts of dogs romping in the snow and wolves fighting over choice meat morsels. You feel power rippling through you into the air, forming a cloud near the ceiling. The cloud bursts, raining down a shower of succulent, sweet dog treats, each the size of your forearm. Your mouth waters just thinking about it. Cerberus bounds towards the treats, plunging 2 of her mouths into the meal with relish. Page 2 of the cloud bursts. While you have most of the heads occupied, Claus creeps forward. Cerberus turns to look, but Claus conjures an enormous chewy toy, which she tosses behind Cerberus's remaining head. She then quickly climbs the stairs. Claus smiles at you, then crooks her finger. You find yourself transported next to her while Cerberus, below, turns around confusedly. You've made it through. Cerberus bellows at you, but doesn't chase. Looking closer, you see a heavy iron chain bolting her to the ground. Page 3 of 4. Let's head up, she says, before giving you a long glance. Claus looks pale. Let's head up, she says, before giving you a long glance. Glass Ghost never said who set this up, and I wasn't able to discover it either. Someone's had the heart this whole time. I have my guesses, though. What are your thoughts? I think that Crinkle Corpse had it all along. They were the best able to pay. Glass Ghost, radio button, checked, 1 of 4. Flame would make the most sense. Why else would he be so bold? Honestly, at this point I don't know. Maybe you've had it this whole time? Page 4 of, I think Glass Ghost never found a buyer. Honestly, at this point I don't know. Maybe you've had it this whole time? Flame would make the most sense. Why else? Honestly, at this point I don't know. Maybe you've had it this whole time? I think Glass Ghost never found a buyer. Too risky of a purchase. This is some new scheme. Flame would make the most sense. I think that Crinkle Corpse had it all along. They were the best able to pay. Glass Ghost. Flame would make the most sense. Why else would he be so bold? Honestly, at this point I don't know. Maybe you've had it this whole time? I think Glass Ghost never found a buyer. Too risky of a purchase. This is some new scheme. I think Glass Ghost never found a buyer. I think Glass Ghost. Next, Claus looks thoughtful and says, interesting idea. It would explain Glass Ghost's being the one coming here. And I remember listening to you tell me about when they tried to steal the list from you. They seem to be operating as a lone wolf. But, why would they invite us after turning themselves in? But, she continues, we have other issues at hand. What do you suppose this is all about? She points up the stairs. You take a long look. These stairs are even taller than they looked from below. The top. Page 2 of 3. You take a long look. These stairs are. Claus holds up one hand, wreathed in glittering ice. She blasts the shadows with her power, but it only slows the darkness, not stopping it. We can't go back, you say. Cerberus is still down there. We'll have to find some way past the shadows. I have an experimental grappling harness in my pouch. Page 3 of 3. I have an experimental grappling harness in my pouch. It might be strong enough to support us both. I shift into her back and lift her to safety. I conjure a ladder made of diamond hard candy canes. Hopefully, it reaches to the top. I've heard of magic like this before, with the power to animate shadows. If only I could remember who told me about it. I conjure a ladder made of diamond hard I conjure a ladder. Next, you're having a bit of trouble feeling any cheer in this dark and abandoned fortress. But you summon as much Christmas spirit as you can, and cross your arms, calling forth a cloud of sugary dust that swirls and extends before you, reaching up into the dark ceiling above. The cloud coalesces and forms beautiful, perfectly striped spirals anchored firmly to the stairs below. You grab Claus by the hand and begin to climb. The shadows pulse and swell down the stairs, crashing into the bottom of the ladder, but the radiant Christmas magic repulses the shadows. The two of you make it to the top in no time. Shows back butt tinkering. 55% shifting. 58% trickery. 20% cheer. 79% connections. 46%. Page 2 of 7. Christmas spirit. 57%. Back button. You're having a bit of trouble feeling any cheer in this dark and abandoned fortress. The cloud coalesces and forms beautiful, perfectly striped spirals anchored firmly to the stairs below. You grab Claus by the hand and begin to climb. The shadows pulse and swell down the stairs, crashing into the bottom of the ladder, but the radiant Christmas magic repulses the shadows. The two of you make it to the top in no time. Page 2 of The cloud coalesces and forms. When you reach the top, Claus turns to you and grins. You did it. Her eyes gleam with subdued energy, and she smiles approvingly at you. You reach the upper landing together, which stretches far in either direction. Only one. Next, but you reach the upper landing together, which stretches far in either direction. Only one door is open, and you hear faint, echoing sounds from inside. Next button. You creep towards the door, with Claus following. You burst into the room with a wild cry, but it's empty. It looks like some kind of former barracks, with decayed beds covering the floor. A lone window's curtain flaps rhythmically, clapping the wall. Claus sighs in relief, sitting heavily onto a nearby bed. I have to rest, Rosewood. Let's have just a moment here. You sit across from her, and the two of you breathe for a moment. Claus speaks first. You know, Rosewood, 2 years ago, I never would have imagined this. The heart gone, betrayals, battles, my brother. She takes a deep breath. And now we're here. I can feel it, so close. We might be able to get back what we've lost. I don't think I'm going to be the same after all of this. She looks up at you, and says, just in case things don't go well, you'll be left in charge. I wanted to give you something, a gift to light your way, one that reflects your heart and your vision of the future. What do you think Claus Castle will be like, after all of this? Page 2 of 3. You sit across from her. We'll stick together. Page 3 of 3. We'll stick together. That's what we've always been about. I think everything is going to change. We'll have to adapt, and think new. We need optimism. The future of Claus Castle will be bright if we make it bright. We need to settle in for dark times. Only the gritty are going to thrive. We need optimism. Next, she smiles. Web page loaded. Choices made. First branches. Make 100 Gisicon back, but she smiles. Optimism. Yes, I think that Claus Castle will benefit the most from those that are happy and willing to work towards a bright future. I love that idea, Rosewood. Here, she says, I want you to have this. She hands you a miniature carved with the sun breaking through the storm over the sea. I look at it from time to time to remind me that there is always light behind the darkness. I want you to have it, as a token of your cheerfulness. Next. She's quiet for a second, then moves closer to you. There's something else I wanted to give you, Rosewood. She leans in close to you. She opens her lips. It's clear she wants you to kiss her. I want this. I hold her close and kiss her. Radio button checked. 1 of 3. I go for a hug. I want to show affection, but more platonically. I back away. This isn't what I want. Page 2 of I back away. This isn't what I want. I go for a hug. I go for a hug. I want to show affection, but more platonically. Radio button checked. 2 of 3. I back away. This isn't what I want. Button. Claus handles the change perfectly. She hugs you tight and buries her face in your shoulder. You pat her back, and feel the tension in her muscles melting away. When you let go, she's crying. She wipes her eyes and says, "Thank you, Rosewood. I've wanted to hold you for so long. You are my rock, you know, holding us together at Claus Castle. Whatever happens between us, I want you to know that I care for you deeply." Screen dimmed. When you let go, she's crying. She wipes her eyes and says, "Thank you, Rosewood. I've wanted to hold you for so long. You are my rock, you know, holding us together at Claus Castle. Whatever happens between us, I want you to know that I care for you deeply." You give each other one last hug, and sit in happy silence. Page 2 of 2. When you let go, she's crying. She wipes her eyes and says, "Thank you, Rosewood. I've wanted to hold you for so long. You are my rock, you know." You give each other one last hug. Reluctantly, you both realize it's time to go on and find the heart. Next, together, the two of you walk to the other end of the landing. There is only one door that wasn't visible from inside the barracks. You push open the door and you both enter. Inside, you see a small room cluttered with dusty cushions and warm blankets. On a mound in the middle, you see the heart. The heart is not shaped like an actual heart. Instead, it is a perfectly smooth and round crystal filled with a pulsing green light. The whole room is lit up with its glow. Page 2 of together, the two of you walk. You push open the door and you both enter. Inside, you see a small room cluttered with dusty cushions and warm blankets. To your surprise, the heart is not shaped like an actual heart. Next, Claus says, "I'll take it from here, Rosewood. Know that everything that happens, the Norns predicted. Thank you for coming with me, and for serving me all of these centuries." She strides forward and grabs the heart. As she does so, the room changes. Cushions and blankets shift and move, and robotic arms rise, pointing towards the center of the room. Their tips begin to glow. "Claus, watch out," you shout. Why didn't she check the room first? This is reckless. Page 2. Bright white beams fire like spokes of a wool, converging on Claus in the heart. The energy knocks you back, holding you against the wall. This power. No wonder you sensed nothing. They seem to be some kind of negative energy, the antithesis of magic. Claus conjures a protective orb of eyes around her, trying to block the beams. But the beams pierce the globe, shattering it and holding her in place. This has to be Crinkle Corp's work, an advanced version of their magic drainer. How is it here? Are they behind this? Claus looks weak. Page 4. Claus looks weak. Months and months of fighting. Even the challenges tonight have contributed to her injuries. She sinks to the floor and vanishes in a cloud of white sparkles. The heart is the sole target of the beams now, but it seems to be reacting violently. There's a green flash of light, and all of the arms shatter backward. You fall to the floor, released from the energy. The heart pulses more dimly now. Claus didn't have enough strength to fully protect it. Now she's gone. The machine shuts down. The room seems quiet now. You slowly reach forward and take the heart for yourself. Next chapter, button. Chapter 11 Silent Night, image. Voiceover off.